Yesterday, the Constitutional Court ruled that men can assume their wives' surname. The highest court in the land says Section 26, 1A to C of the Births and Deaths Registration Act is unconstitutional and unfairly discriminates on the basis of gender because it fails to afford men the right to assume the surname of women after marriage. Jana, Jordaan and Henry van der Merwe, as well as Jess, Donnelly-Bornman and Andreas, Nicolas Bornman, turned to the Apex Court in March this year for a confirmation of invalidity against the said section. For more on this, we are now joined by legal expert Elton Hart, and he joins us now via our video link. Elton, thank you so much for your time, sir, this evening here in SABC News. And now, social media is still abuzz following that verdict, which we saw yesterday from the Constitutional Court, now allowing men to take up the surname of their wives if they wish to do so. Let's firstly start off with your reaction. What do you make of that ruling?
Now, if one looks at the ruling, then obviously one looks at to say that our constitution is actually progressive in it, allowing it to actually sort of go this far. And this just speak to men and women being equal before the law, and that's how the constitution is written, to say that one gender should not have preference over the other gender. So this was something that I expected that the Constitutional Court will come back with.
And we've been told now from that ruling from the Constitutional Court that it discriminates on the basis of gender. What are the implications for this judgment?
No, the implications of this judgment would be that the legislature would now be afforded an opportunity to actually fix the legislation. And it won't say that the entire legislation is now unconstitutional. It's just a certain section in it. And the legislature will be afforded the opportunity to actually fix that provision to make it gender neutral. To say that whoever wants to assume whoever's surname is allowed to do so. That choice should be left up to the individual or individuals who wants to make that choice. And it shouldn't be forced upon them to say that females can only assume a man's surname and a man cannot assume a female's surname. So I think that is more or less the work that needs to go in by Parliament now to just fix that part of the Birth and Registrations Act.
And Elton, I mean, also the conversation which we are now also seeing online from a number of South Africans is the issue around immigration, and some raising their concerns when it comes to immigration in the country. And you would know this, right? Because we've seen a number of people in South Africa also getting married to try and ascertain some sort of course, a citizenship in the country. And now people also citing the issues around the changes of surnames because of issues around immigration. Are their concerns valid?
Now, if one looks at it, and obviously, remember, your ID number will not be changed by this. It just allows you now to make a choice. So if I want to take my partner's, my wife or my husband's surname, my ID number remains the same. So that is a choice that I need to make. And the thing is, like with our Home Affairs system, is that when you go register yourself, your birth, and when later on when you make your identity document, your fingerprints are taken. So people was also worried about criminality that might increase. But obviously, if your fingerprints is on a crime scene, they can still match it. Even if you change your name, even you can change your complete name to change it to something totally different. I cannot be no longer Elton Hart. I might be Romeo Boyson for that matter, but my ID number remains the same. So they can still track me. It will just take a little bit longer. And I think also maybe the concern might be where you have now males that is from other countries, and we see it a lot in the divorces that is coming through courts, that these males now can actually assume this female surname, then he looks like he's a South African, meanwhile he's actually a foreign national, to obtain citizenship fraudulently. So there might be that little concern, but I mean, that can be easily detected because on the way the ID number is written, there where we have 081, 082, 0830, theirs will normally have a 1 before the 8. So you can still pick it up and actually deal with these issues.
Elton, what does this ruling also say about the maturity of South Africa's democracy?
No, I think we are moving in the right direction to say that that thing that men has marital power over female is diminishing day by day, and actually say to females, you are a person, you can stand on your own, you can also lead from the front. And nowadays, a lot of households is the females is the primary breadwinners compared to the males, where the roles was reversed maybe 40, 50 years ago. So obviously, this is now actually to level the playing field and to say that to the one gender, you do not have sort of half an upper end over the other gender. Both of you are equal in stature, equal in everything, although we know that certain people might feel that a male still needs to play a certain role. Yes, you can still play that role, but you don't need to have like a dominance over the female and vice versa.
And before I let you go, Elton, what do you make of this backlash that we are continuing to see? Of course, there are mixed views. Some are for it, but we're also seeing a number of people, you know, with a lot of backlash when it comes to the Constitutional Court and its decision. What do you make of them saying that, you know, and them being hostile towards this ruling?
Now, obviously, people need to actually understand what is the parameters and what is the scope and the jurisdiction with which the Constitutional Court looks at the Constitution as a whole, and to say that the Constitution in itself, it will not be discriminatory, and clearly it shows that this Birth and Registration Act is in contrast with the Constitution, which we say is the supreme law of the land. And obviously the Constitutional Court then has to interpret this piece of legislation with the Constitution in the one hand and this legislation on the other hand, and say, does this legislation actually stand in conflict of the supreme law of the land? And obviously, if it's in conflict with the supreme law of the land, then it should be found unconstitutional. And that's how the Constitutional Court is. And I see a lot of people saying the Constitutional Court is too liberal and those type of things, but it's not. They're just applying the constitutional principles that we signed up for in 1994.
All right, Elton, thank you so much for your time. That's Elton Hart. He's a legal expert there from the UJ Law Clinic, just giving us his expert analysis when it comes to that ruling we saw yesterday from the Constitutional Court.